Scanning for audio.
Hello and welcome to another For Your Consideration with me, Luke, if you've forgotten who I am, and my co-host.
Hello, I'm Michael, and you will have forgotten who I am.
We're back. We are not promising regularity, but we're back with, as we promised last time, Galaxy Quest, which is Michael's choice.
It certainly is.
This is a... Well, I don't know. How would you describe it, Michael?
Right, okay, so it is almost... Well, hang on. It's played completely straight, but it's a comedy. It's a sci-fi comedy. Do you want actually me to describe the plot really quickly? Would that help?
Well, I suppose the headline is it's a Star Trek parody, and also a commentary on fandom, I suppose. But I suppose it's much bigger than either of those things. But that's the sort of headline, really, isn't it? That's the world
that's
we're
acceptable.
in. Yeah. And it plays on there's an alien race who mistake the cast of a Star Trek-like TV show for the real thing, and beam them up, thinking that they can, pilot the ship, and then they have to kind of wing it until they actually make it, as it were.
That's exactly it. Fake it till you make it. Writ large.
So when did you first... So it's 1999, I think, originally?
And I saw this at the cinema.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Now, at the time, I'm pretty sure it was Warner Brothers, which is being knocked down in Newcastle, and it's now student accommodation. But it was my favourite proper cinema for actual seeing films in. I mean, the design of the Odeon in Newcastle is lovely, gorgeous from the outside, only had 4 screens. Warner Brothers was just a massive multiplex, and it was out of town, and it had parking that was free, so you could just walk, and it was great. Right? And you could get a card that would get you in. It was either that one or the Virgin Cinema, which was on the other side of the river. A bit cheaper, because you had the card that would get you in as many times as you wanted. But, and here's the trick, you had to get through the Tyne Tunnel, which of course was going to cost you money. There you go. Yeah. So that's me of the time. I just instantly loved this movie. I just saw it and was like, yes, this is me. It's speaking to me on all the levels. It's funny. It's great. I wasn't even particularly a big Tim Allen fan at the time. I hadn't really watched Tool Time, where it was on. And I'm pretty sure he'd already done Toy Story by that point. But
yep, he had done Toy Story. Well, and I think Toy Story 2 came out the same year as this?
Right.
I believe.
But that was all I knew about him, was
right.
That he'd done a series on Channel 4 that I hadn't really watched. I knew he was like Buzz Lightyear, and that was it. But this was just, there isn't a poor performance in it. If you watch everything, it just gets better. It's one of those films you can have on. It just feels good, and that was it. Well, okay. So today I'm driving home from work, and I speak to my parents on the phone while I'm driving. And my dad asks me what I'm up to, right? And I say, oh, tonight I'm recording with Luke for the first time in ages. And he was like, oh, that's good. What are you discussing? And I tell him, and he went, oh, it's a cracking film, that. He says, Lord, better than bloody Doctor Who at the minute. And then he went into a big rant about current TV Doctor Who. But even my dad, who's a sci-fi fan, I've mentioned him before. He's the person who introduced me to so much stuff. He just loves this film. I don't think anybody has ever seen this film and gone, no, it's pants, it's rubbish, it's just not for me. Because you don't have to be a Star Trek fan. You just have to be aware of the fact that there is a TV show that these people are in. I mean, let's face it, in this movie universe, it's a late 70s, early 80s TV show that I'm thinking from the maths did 4 seasons, because the last episode is episode 92. So it would have gone into syndication, because they actually say this is the first time anybody's seen the last episode. And I'm thinking, really though? Because that's not kind of how... But don't question that. and it just really appealed to me. And then because it just made me laugh, and it got to the end, and then I got the DVD when it came out, and I discovered the DVD had an extra track on it, which is on the Blu-ray as well. That the whole film is available with a Thermian language option, and you can actually listen to it. And I challenge anyone to see if they can make it through the whole film listening to the whole thing in Thermian, because by this point you'll have seen the film so many times you know all the words. It really is one of those things. It's dead quotable, and I think it's Alan Rickman's best performance, and that includes Truly Madly Deeply to Richard, who's listening to this right now, because I know he does, because he listens to every episode, and Truly Madly Deeply is right up there with his greatest films. But I think this is his greatest thing because he is playing it so ludicrously. There's obviously parallels. It's not just everyone says, oh, it's like original Star Trek, but I think there's more parallels with Next Gen, because you've got the young character who is like Wesley,
yes,
who's then got older, so he's younger than the rest of the crew, and is my how you've grown. It's just you can't stop, but do the voices and just throw yourself into it, and the effects are done so straight. Even the people who make new Star Trek say it's like it is a Star Trek film, and I think it's better than that. I think it's its own thing. Sorry, I am enthusiastic about that, but that's what this podcast was always meant to be about.
Well, that's the whole point. You bring something that you love for us to chat about. I don't remember being aware of it at the time. I can't remember when I became aware of it, but I definitely borrowed it from Love Film when I was doing Love Film. Which means by that point I'd heard by word of mouth that it was good. I think I'd heard a lot of the things that you said about it.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it and enjoying it, and I hadn't seen it since until a few months ago when we were going to record this originally.
Yeah.
That I popped it on, watched it with Hannah, and we both had a really good time. So I've seen it twice. I saw it once.
That's fine. You're not going to be judged for that.
15, 20 years ago, and I've seen it again recently, and I would watch it again.
At least you didn't watch it years ago and then feel, oh, I've got to watch it again, and then it wasn't as good or it didn't appeal. I genuinely feel that you watch this and you go, oh, I didn't see that last time, or I didn't notice that, or something. There's always new stuff going on, even if you're watching the people in the background. And I also thought it would appeal to you specifically because the Thermian walk is based on Fireball XL5 or Thunderbirds.
Is it?
Marionette walking. The guy who invented it after the audition said he got the walk from he actually, in the documentary, he says he gets the name of Fireball XL5 wrong, but he does say it. Because he says the way that marionettes walked in those old shows, Thunderball XL something,
right, yeah.
And he was okay. Yeah, we know what you're saying, mate,
yeah.
And you're right. That is so the walk. And they were saying that all of the proper actors could do that, but the extras had a bit of trouble with the coordination.
Have you seen? I think it's called Super Thunder Sting Car.
Oh, is that the Pete and Dud one?
Pete and Dud parody, yes. So like even that, obviously that's contemporaneous with Thunderbirds. So it's that walk, that way of doing stuff has been sort of playfully parodied, forever. I mean, I think the thing that works about this film is, like you say, it works as a Star Trek movie on one level, right? Like the actual mission that they're on feels like the kind of thing that you'd have Kirk doing, right? And the dynamics of the crew are, it's their own dynamic, but you've got the kind of those recognizable kind of characters from the kind of Star Trek world. And at the same time, so you've got the jeopardy. You've got the genuine jeopardy of the situation that they're in, and then it's also very funny throughout.
You've got. I mean, in real life, everyone knows that at various points in history, there's a few truths, and I'm putting the rabbit ears on the truths that are accepted about Star Trek and the cast and the way life went on. Right. So you've got Shatner, who did, well, I know you're more of an expert on this one. Did it a couple of Columbos, but he also did the TJ Hooker thing.
TJ Hooker, yeah.
Yeah, because TJ Laser's in RoboCop. Sorry, TJ Hooker is in that, and then so his career had some big lumps. But they also had ups and downs because of the syndication, how much money he was getting. There was a point in the 70s where he's living in his car, and then the movies come along and revitalise him, and he becomes... And then there's the famous Saturday Night Live sketch where he just tells people to get a life, and people are like, well, is that how he feels, or is that the sketch that was written for him? Where are we at? So everyone knows that Shatner's got like a love-hate relationship with Kirk.
Yeah. Did you see Shatner when he was on Have I Got News for You?
Oh, no. I remember him hosting the Red Dwarf Space Quiz thing on BBC Two.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that.
Oh, now that might be worth tracking down. But go on.
I know, it's just... So I just distinctly remember he makes some derogatory comments about Ilfracombe, which is in...
Why? North Wales, is it?
No, I think it's in... is it Devon?
Well,
anyway,
yeah.
I can't remember what the story was, but it's just very, very funny to kind of hear William Shatner kind of slagging off a British seaside town.
So you've got that, and then you've got
Tom Baker on Have I Got News for You is also very, very funny. If you've
that's brilliant. Yeah. Tom's hosting was just superb. So you've got that truth, but you've also got the Nimoy truth of was it I am not Spock, and it's like, and then his other biography, I am Spock.
Yeah.
So you're like, everyone came to hate the characters and love the characters, and then move on, and then be friends, and then there's the business. Have they actually fallen out with the guy who plays Sulu or not, and all that business? So
yes,
all of those interactions have been writ large.
Yes,
but then with your next gen character, you've got Picard, played by RSC bloke, who's quite clearly the influence for the Alan Rickman. So you've got Spock,
yes,
with Be the Alien instead of the rubber ears. You've got the rubber forehead and all that. So you can see it. You can see it, but also they've made their world far enough away from Star Trek for it to be its own thing. It's more of the Buck Rogers era, the late 70s, early 80s thing, it's not quite Babylon 5, which is very 90s because that had better stuff going on, and it's you're like, I want to watch episodes of this, and so much, but I don't want to watch episodes of the movie, because the movie's the actors playing that. I actually want to watch the TV show or the animated spin-off series with somebody else doing the voices. They get Cumberbatch to do Alan Rickman's voices or whatever, but do it in a 1970s animated style or 80s animated style, so it looks like Ulysses 31. At this point, you find that I'm just wandering down a whole rabbit hole of stuff.
Have you seen The Orville?
No, not yet. Is that basically it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'd heard about it, and I think the Staggering Stories guys have positive things to say about it. And I saw the first episode on a plane once.
Okay.
And I thought it was okay. I mean, I know that the people who think it's really good, like it is, it's comedy, but it's like Star Trek Next Gen.
See, I've not seen that, and I've not seen Below Decks either.
No, I haven't seen that either.
And I know I should, and that, I'll probably have to hand in my sci-fi geek badge because I've not watched either of those things. But The Orville, I've just never got round to. And I like Family Guy. I've got no problem with that. I like the guy who does it. I can't see I've got no issues with it at all. It's right up my street. It's just one of those, oh my God, I've only got this much time to myself. Do I really want to embrace a brand new show instead? But given how much I've been enjoying current TV, maybe I should embrace new shows to try something different. Because I tried Star Trek Discovery, made it through, 2 episodes, and just went, no. But I did watch... Is it Brave New Worlds?
Strange New Worlds.
Strange New Worlds. With Pike, Captain Pike.
Yeah.
That's great. That's really nicely done. It feels great. And Kirk's dad's in it, who's an idiot. Is brilliant.
Who's playing Kirk's dad in that?
I don't know, but he looks a lot like the security guard in Galaxy Quest. Oh. Right.
Should
okay.
we talk about the fact that this
Go
was
on.
originally going to be an R-rated film?
We should, yeah, because the reason behind it not being an R-rated film is stupid.
Oh, what is the reason that they changed it?
Right. Okay. So it's in production,
Yeah.
and according to myth, the reason that the studio wasn't on top of them constantly is because they were having production problems with another film that was being made next door, metaphorically speaking, which was Gladiator. So Gladiator's being made. Obviously, it's a global success, but you've got Oliver Reed dying, which is a bit of an inconvenience, to be fair, to put it mildly. And it's not exactly over budget, but it's an expensive piece of filmmaking, and they've suddenly discovered they have to spend a lot of money making Oliver Reed not look dead. So there's that famous scene where you're like, he's not in this kind of thing, and you're like, he is, but he's not, and it's brilliant, and you can't tell. And that's great.
Yeah, I've never really worked out which bits he's CG
exactly. So the executives are like, look over there while this film's being made. So originally you've got Harold Ramis from Ghostbusters being the director,
right?
And then he stops being the director, and they get this other bloke who's made one film to just turn up and film the script. They go, here's the script, film this, and he does such a good job, right? So the problem is the studio's looking the other way, so they get to make this film, and there's a bit more swearing in it, and we'll deal with Sigourney Weaver's lip syncing in a minute.
Yeah.
Right, but then there's the summer, the previous summer before this comes out, and it's Rugrats the movie, right?
Right.
Animated movie of Rugrats, G-rated movie for kids. DreamWorks wants a success, another one, and they go, oh, we can do kids films really well. Let's make this. Oh, what have we got that we can turn into a kids film? Oh yeah, that's a bit of a comedy camp sci-fi. We'll turn that into a complete kids film. And the people on the set go, what? We've been swearing quite a lot. And they go, it'll be fine. Let's just do a bit of editing and jiggery-pokery. Now, the reason that Sigourney Weaver in the scene with the chompers mouths an F word,
yes,
but is heard to hear screw this,
screw that,
is because they didn't bother filming a version where she doesn't swear because they thought it was going to be targeted at a teen and above audience. But what they've ended up with is a film you can watch absolutely not worried about any members of your family, and everyone's going to enjoy it on a certain level. So I think like the changing of the ending of the Blade Runner, the producers were right on that one. And the fact that we can spot Sigourney Weaver swearing when she isn't heard swearing is just brilliant. So they changed it into a G-rated film, and I've got no real problems with that at all. But
have you noticed that it's now rated a 12 since that story came out? If you look on the BBFC website for the rating, it says, it specifically mentions it's a 12 because of the dubbed over swear word.
Really?
Yeah.
What, because a deaf kid might get offended?
I don't know, but it specifically says that it's a 12 now because of that reason.
Sorry, was that politically incorrect? It is possible, though. Yeah,
well, no. I mean, obviously, if you're deaf and you're used to lip reading, you're not going to know that it's supposed to be.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
But I mean, the other thing is the fact that Tony Shalhoub's character is, once you know that he's supposed to be stoned out of his mind for most of the film, you're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense of how he behaves.
Now, right, okay, so headcanon. Yeah. I always thought, that because, right, you watch the beginning of the bit, and Tony's quite clearly, in the TV version, like they're showing the original, it opens with the clip of the TV show, right?
Yeah.
And it's 3x4, which is great, and it shows you, and he comes to camera, and he's kind of mugging and being kind of, I'm very handsome with his face, and he says, delivers his line, and then goes. But my reading of that was, he wasn't well at the end of the series, and I think he's not stoned off his head. I think he's had a breakdown, which is how come he can cope with everything that's happening really easily. He's had a breakdown and they've put him on meds for his mental health.
Right.
That's what I think. I'm probably wrong.
In the original R-rated version, there was stuff about him being stoned, right? That's
See,
my
I don't know. Why can't we have this film? Can they just release the R-rated version, possibly as a double disc? Right? We will buy the disc. right? I know that all of the film companies are like, nobody buys physical media anymore. We'll buy this. It'll jump off the shelves. Trust me, there's a billion fans of it out there, and we're all desperate to see this version that we know existed in the first place. George Lucas it. Don't make it for kids. I
suppose the question is whether that version of the film is actually any good.
Yeah, true. Yeah, because you don't need to know that he's meant to be off his face, because you just know. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's a joke you can get as you get older. I always assumed he was just not well, and that's why he can cope with having a relationship with Missy Pyle in her natural form. Yes,
exactly. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing. It works on that level, and it's just one of those things when you read about it and go, "Oh, right, that was what was supposed to be going on." You're like, "Oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense." But like you say, you can read it as, he's just.
Well, because I know that certain, like, we're getting back to the original Star Trek casting, some of them didn't cope well afterwards, and I was thinking it was along those lines.
Yeah.
So, but he seems very happy because he's just standing there, and he's remembered to bring his food. He's the one who can see the bigger picture and just go, "Oh, he's asked us to be in the gig. We should just do it." And then they all get out of the van and run after him because of the things he says. And he's great. And I must admit, how good's the casting, right? Because when you first go and see this, you go, "Oh yeah, it's Buzz Lightyear. Oh, and Sigourney Weaver's in it. That'll be cool," right? That's what happens in 1990. But now you watch it and you're like, "Oh my God, isn't that the bloke out of The Office in America? Just in the background. Isn't that Monk? Isn't that, and you're like going through everyone. Isn't that the bloke from Moon who was there for Beeblebrox?" It's It's like you're going, is there anybody in this film who isn't just cast brilliantly?
Yeah.
And
yes, I think that, certainly Sam Rockwell.
Yeah.
You're like, how is he in that part? And then you go, oh yes, well this is before he was. Yeah. A lot more famous and.
Well, he kept.
He was in Iron Man 2, wasn't he? That was. I suppose
he kept turning this down. I think he was in The Green Mile. Is it The Green Mile?
Could be. Time.
He's in something like The Green Mile, where he plays a very dark character, and he then had. I think his agent might have explained it to him and gone, right, if these both come out at the same time, people will see your range instantly, and it was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Even on the making of, do you know the story of the was it? So on the making of program that's on Prime, which I definitely want to point people towards, there's this thing about people's different acting styles. It's just mentioned in passing, and I've been thinking about this afterwards, because you've got people like Sam who are like really method, and then you've got Tim who learns his lines, says them, goes home. You've got Alan who's pure English acting style, so he's obviously he's got that going on. And there's a lot of other people who've all got different acting styles. Sigourney Weaver worked a lot in the UK, worked a lot in America. She's done lots of different things, and she's got a quite naturalistic style, but she definitely puts in the hours and she works, and she's a very good actor. So you've got all that going on, but they've got lots of different acting styles which normally don't work, and that's why Harold Ramis signed off, because he was like, I don't think I can do justice to this acting style.
Right.
And then he left. And there's a scene, right? So Spielberg visits the set on the day that Tool Time Tim, as far as the world's concerned, is doing his scene with the tortured guy. Okay? Right. And he has to tell him that he's an actor. He has to tell him it's all real. None of it's real.
Yeah.
And he has to like destroy his faith in the crew.
Yeah.
Right. And he does like 15 takes, right? And Spielberg's behind the camera, and he goes up to the director. Well, the director's watching on the monitor, and somebody nudges the director, and the director's like, seriously, I'm at work here, mate. And he turns around to have a go at the person who's nudging him, and it's Spielberg. And Spielberg's going, he's good, isn't he? Right. So that kind of helps with the ego of Tim.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, he's a bit he's all full of emotions, and he says to the director, he said, I've got to go back to my trailer. I'm feeling all sorts of emotions I don't normally feel. What's going on? So he goes off, and Alan Rickman says, oh my God, he's just discovered acting. And I'm like, yeah, he has. So it was really nice, and I just love the way that everybody's taking it so seriously in order for it to pay off well. And I must admit, also the effects are bloody good as well. They stand up really well, even after 25 years.
Yeah. No, it's the kind of thing where you're like, this could have been the set that they built for a Star Trek movie. The CG is. It works. The fact that the bad guys are partly CG, right? I think.
Yeah, there's CG going on. It's Stan Winston, so Stan's always going to give you practical effects with a frosting of CG in order to make everything feel real, and so that you can't see the join. And Stan, absolute hero of mine. He's just up there. It's like Stan Winston's team. Yes, that's great.
For the uninitiated, Stan Winston, we're talking Terminator, is his most famous piece of work, right? But obviously, a long career in.
Well, long career, but also he did a lot of the sort of horror movies you've not seen,
right?
And there was some seriously good work going on. Yeah, and Stan Winston. I used to buy a Cinefex, which was stupidly expensive as a magazine
right.
from Forbidden Planet. And there was always a special. And apparently the issue of Cinefex that deals with Blade Runner is worth an absolute bloody fortune. But the other ones were always good. And there was always, it's like, I'll just go into Forbidden Planet. And they were always sealed in plastic, so you could never read them. You had to buy them. And I loved that magazine. But there was always some stuff on Stan. Such a big fan. He did some great work. And when you just remember somebody's died, like they've been dead for a while, but then it just dawns on you. You go, they're not here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's shit. Sorry, I've just remembered that about Stan. But yeah. So I visited my parents' house a few months ago, and I was rummaging, basically trying to find stuff to sell. Right, and I went into the cupboard. Now I found a roll of posters. Mostly from the old video store from down the road, and I always used to get them. So I've got some cinema posters and all sorts from films that you've either never heard of or and I'm thinking, I'll sell them one day. But in the middle of the roll, I found a poster I'd had made, which was really sad because I'd managed to track down the Japanese promo leaflet for the movie. And I'd taken it to a shop, had it scanned, and had it printed as A1, right? And this is proof that if I'd concentrated and actually looked after my money when I was a student, or when I was in, it's the 2000s, I was way past being a student. No, I wasn't. I was still a student. Yes, arguably. Leave it there. I was doing a master's at the point, right? I would still have cash. So I have a bright pink Japanese A1 poster that never existed of Galaxy Quest that was on my wall for at least 2 years. And that was rolled up. And it's brittle as hell. It's really aged. So I've pinned it up in the wall, in the recording shed, the tin dog kennel, so to speak. And and it's there. And the only wall I could find that didn't have some crap on it was actually the pinboard that's got the breakdown of my next novel with all of the chapters written out. So I'm probably not going to be writing for a while because I want this Galaxy Quest poster on the wall. And it's sad. And I've even gone out of my way and gone, because I went through a whole I'm not buying any more Funko Pops phase. Well, there was an incident involving discovering that there'd been Galaxy Quest Funko Pops. Obviously, I've got the Alexander Dane with the great head thing. But then I got Guy, which I must admit I do like. But this is really bad radio, and I do apologise. But I haven't bought Fred yet. And I don't know why, because he's not that expensive on eBay. It's not like, but they're all like Funko exclusive apart from Jason. I've got Jason, I've got Alex, I've got the General, which, see, they're in protective covers, so you can't really see them, but the General does look exactly like he does on the screen. And it's just, you know what? This is ridiculous. I've always thought this. Okay, so you do a podcast and you do a podcast about something you like, all you can be is enthusiastic, right? Now, I'd love to have a go and say, oh my God, there's moments that are terrible, right? Admittedly, the stuff like the chompers, I don't know, but even the tiny aliens, all that business, getting the new beryllium sphere, all that just works because it still feels, like you said, an episode of Star Trek and an episode of this, and it just fits. It's clearly been written with love for everything. There isn't anybody with a bad opinion, right? And they say, oh no, there's like moments where does Jason get his new shirt from? Then they pass it to him in the when he beams back up, and I'm like, that's fine. They would have more uniforms on board. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
It's all that business. That's fine.
Well, I think the minute you're worrying about continuity in anything,
yeah,
you've got bigger problems.
That's true. That's true. So
like I've become quite obsessive by how the time travel works in Back to the Future, right?
Yeah,
but only because I've seen it so many times.
Okay,
that I kind of I start to obsess and go, does this actually work? Probably not. But
got you.
But it's what. And I guess with this, like, if you're nitpicking things that don't quite make sense, then you're clearly not focusing on everything else that's working.
No, that makes total sense because you the whole point of the film. I mean, there's even moments in the film where they're talking about this makes no sense, or they actually have to look up the schematics for the ship because they've kids have got the drawings and everything.
Yeah.
All of those things about being a fan and having a love for a show and it meaning something to you, and it's the passion and it's the love that you've got, and all of that business that shines through, right? And the problem is that for us, is that it's much easier for not just us, for any podcaster, for any reviewer, any YouTuber to get more content out of something they're not enjoying.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? Because right now I'm just sat here going, oh my God, what a great film. This is brilliant. If you've not seen this, go and see it, right?
Yeah.
It's a 3-minute review. It's a 3-minute review at best, right? Because if I tell you what happens in it, that's a spoiler. If I bang on about certain bits, that kind of becomes a spoiler, or you're just sat there going, yeah. Now, I know there is a theory. There is this theory of reviewing, and it was put forward by one of the old editors of Doctor Who magazine. And the theory is people just want to be told what they've already bought is good.
Yes.
And I can see that argument. I can genuinely see. It's like, do you already like this? Yes. Well, you're right, and that makes you cool.
Yes.
And
yes, it's why there are certain Doctor Who DVDs where you read the sleeve notes and you're like, no, I don't want you to tell me that this story's crap. I've bought it. I'm going to watch it. Which I do. It's that kind of that level of sleeve notes. You're like, no. If you're going to write the sleeve notes, like the thing that you're writing the sleeve notes for, because the people who are going to read the sleeve notes are the people who've bought it. Tell me that this thing's good.
I've literally just remembered. I've got the film playing in the background. Okay.
Yeah.
I've literally just remembered because, when stuff is in your world, and it seeps into your head, so that you start quoting it and things like that. I've just realised I say a line from this film quite often. Often when I'm in the kitchen, and I hadn't realised that it was from this, but I've just looked up and gone, oh God, yeah, it is. And I even say it in the voice where somebody gets beamed up and he doesn't survive and it exploded. And I just do that. But it's like if I make a meal or do something in the microwave and the lid flies off or something, you just look and go, even in your own head, you go, it exploded. And it's just did. So it's that kind of film. It's like the Python films where they're just in your head. They're part of your culture. They're part of who you are. And that's great. I'd like to meet the director and just shake his hand and say, you did a cracking job, mate. Everything worked. Thank you. And that's not good content. That's not why people would be downloading YouTubes. You need worst film ever. And you need kind of nonsense. I think
if people have stuck with us for this long, they know that this podcast
does
go,
to
we
be fair,
like stuff.
Yeah, well, that's what this was always about. It was always for your consideration. Here's something I love. You might like it too.
Yeah.
And if you do, that's great. And if you don't, that's fine.
Yes.
And I'm genuinely pleased that you did like it because.
Oh yeah. No.
I can't see why you wouldn't. Why anyone?
No. Well,
wouldn't.
this is the thing. Like, I think if you're anywhere in our wheelhouse,
Yes.
unless you really dislike Star Trek, which is it's possible. There are people who listen to us who don't like Star Trek. It's not. I mean, Star Trek's not my favourite thing, but I've watched a whole bunch of it. I've watched all the movies. I have the movies on the shelf because I like them, even the less good ones. And this is
even just the one where Kirk says, "Hey guys, let's go meet God."
I mean that yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, that movie can stay purely for the Captain Kirk is climbing the mountain. Why is he climbing a mountain? He wants to make love to the mountain. That interview with Shatner that's been kind of turned into a music track. Like that's fine. This is not. There's nothing to do with Galaxy Quest, but you're talking about quoting things. Very proud dad moment. Okay. Recently, we've been getting slices of salami in our weekly shop because the kids like it. My youngest.
It's not a crime.
My youngest daughter has multiple allergies, and meat happens to be one of the things that she can generally eat. Anyway, do you know where I'm going with this? Salami.
I don't, but I want you to tell the story anyway, even if I figured it out.
So I can't remember what happened. I do think I just introduced the line from Mask of Mandragora. I wouldn't even say no to a salami sandwich. Which is Tom Baker lip syncing to actor whose name I can't remember. Anyway, and
old
then
age catches up with even you.
Yes, what's his name? I can't remember. He plays Baker in the Silurians, but I still can't remember the actor's name. But anyway, and so my kids now think this is hilarious. They asked me to do the voice, but then a little while later, my daughter said, "Dad, can I have a salami sandwich?" And I was like, "Yes." So I actually got to make her a salami sandwich, and then I kind of gave it to her and said the line. But they absolutely find it hysterical, and they asked me to do it now. And I'm like, "Yes, it's a Doctor Who line."
It's part of the proper indoctrination of your children.
It's not even Doctor Who story that I particularly like either.
No.
But that bit is just very funny. And Stephen Szupanski and I once did it on Tmudwup, where he sent me him doing the voice, and then I lip synced to it on the podcast. So the fact that you quote this and you didn't even realise kind of shows how deep it's gone into you.
It's and it's that's obviously I have caught myself when something shit's happened. I have caught myself saying "by Grabthar's hammer," and because I wish I could do an Alan Rickman impression, but I just can't. And but getting back to the G-rated thing, apparently the Stan Winston phones up the rest of his effects crew after they'd had the conversation about turning it to a G, and they went, "Are you sitting down?" And they said, "If Stan tells you to be sitting down, you have to be sitting down, because something awful's coming." Yeah. They want to get rid of the octopuses. They think they're too ugly. And they went, "But they're made. We've made them. We shoot in a week." What? No, we've got to leave them be. And I'm so glad they left them in.
Yeah.
Because they just rock. Because that's a thermium's natural state.
Yeah.
And they just, me being a Cthulhu fan anyways, just right up my street. So I'm a very happy person with that. I have not bought an NSC protector. Oh, have you noticed the registration plate on the side of the ship?
No.
Right. Okay, apparently according to the effects company, ILM were there, and it was the only time the effects guys had ever had, while they were working, the people from legal turn up to check on how things were going. Right. And then one of the assistants has the idea of writing on the letters, not NTE. It's the NTE protector, right?
Not
the numbers.
Enterprise.
It's not the Enterprise. So that if they went to court, they could go, it actually says on it, it's not the Enterprise.
Brilliant.
Which is just brilliant.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And I'm just a very happy person. So that's it. I mean, let's face it, all I'm doing is basically saying, I love this film. I think... Yeah, go on.
Well, I was going to say, we haven't really talked about the fandom aspect of it.
No, and we really should, given who we are. You're not wrong. You are not wrong. Because the fans are integral, because they're... I mean, let's face it, Guy was in it, and he was a fan, and he runs the convention.
Yeah.
And he ends up in the show again.
Yes.
So he's one aspect of fandom, but then there's the kids who hire him and they're disappointed, and then they get their life back, but he still has to take out the trash because he lives, and it's at least he's going outside.
Yes.
Which was that's a line I know my parents said about me.
Yeah.
It's so yeah, and but they've all got the schematics. They've all got. Let's face it, it's 1999, and they've got video cameras. They've got webcams, and they can talk to each other, and that's more realistic than any of the other computer hacker films that came out around the time, like, well, not Whiz Kids, but what was it? Well, Hackers. That's what it was called, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people have got that as their as there's a film they'll watch. What's it called when you're not supposed to be proud of watching something?
A guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure. I was thinking Dirty Secret. No, that's a different thing. It's a bit of a guilty pleasure, that film. And again, I saw that one at the cinema. But I saw Strange Days as well. So I saw too many films at the cinema that I perhaps shouldn't have bothered with. Ooh, that's not going to go down well, because I know there's some people out there who really like that film.
But that's okay.
That's okay.
We're allowed to not like stuff.
We are. Right. So...
Have you ever been to a convention like that?
No. Well, yes, actually. Yes, I have. You've never experienced Buffy fandom. Buffy the Vampire Slayer fans, oh my God, they can party. They can party almost as much as Hitchhiker's Guide fans. Right? They are very, very pleased to see the cast. Right, especially back then. I mean, let's face it, it's around this era that Buffy's big.
Yeah.
And Buffy fandom, the Blackpool conventions. I don't know if anybody else went to those. If you did go to those, and you're listening to this, and let's face it, that's going to be quite a small Venn diagram. I was the person who cosplayed Smile Time Angel 2 weeks after the episode aired. Right. Okay, now that's how much I took the... It wasn't even called cosplay then. That's how long ago it was. It was called the Fancy Dress Parade or something.
Yeah.
Or the Costume Parade. It wasn't called cosplay. That's how long ago this was. And I built a giant foam head and went as a Muppet. I will send you the photograph if I can find it. I think there's one.
Yeah.
I didn't even win. I came third. Right? But... it was a damn fine costume. So anyway, Buffy conventions, very much like the convention at this, because there's the autograph signing, the bit where you get to meet people and join the queues and all that business. So yeah, for me, that's closer, because when I'm at Hooverville, I'm there to talk to my mates.
Mm-hmm.
I'm there to spend some time in a lovely Doctor Who welcoming environment. Hooverville's a hug in a convention form. It's what I imagine Gallifrey is like. It's like a state of being. But the frenzied enjoyment and the actors coming on stage and just telling stories, I think that's more for me, would be my Buffy convention.
Yeah.
Have you experienced that sort of thing?
Well, yeah, I suppose the closest I've been to Hooverville and I've been to Galley. Like, those are my two.
I've never been to Gallifrey, but I have been to me.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm sure somebody out there will have to. Anyway.
Yes. So there's an element of Galley that this is like, the big convention halls.
Yeah.
It's in America, and I suppose I've never really been that interested in the signing aspect of things. Like I very specifically queued at Hooverville for Wendy Padbury.
Yes.
Last time, but there's very few people that I've felt the need to kind of queue to meet. I think I've been fortunate enough to meet, like obviously with Hooverville, we've both been very fortunate to, be welcomed as podcasters and get on stage and interview people, which is much better than waiting in a queue for ages and getting a couple of minutes with a person. We've actually been allowed to be on stage with Colin Baker and Pete Davison,
for me,
and people like
Janet Fielding.
Yeah,
I got to be on stage with Janet Fielding and interview my all-time favourite companion.
Yeah,
and let's face it, my favourites, I've spent time on, thanks to that, with all of it, with Sophie Aldred, but I was like, oh my God, I'll just have to nip back and tell the 10-year-old me what I get to do, and everything will be fine.
Yes.
Because 10-year-old me is going to be impressed. And if you can impress the 10-year-old version of yourself, I think things are okay.
Yes. Have you ever had an experience with somebody like the experience they have with Tim Allen, where he's having an off day? Like, have you met somebody and then regretted meeting them because
you know what?
I
don't think so. I think that it's not the same story, but I'm in a lift and it's Paul McGann's first convention. It's Dimensions in Time.
Right.
And it's in Middlesbrough, obviously, but they kept the name or something. It doesn't really matter. But I'm in a lift.
I was going to say Dimensions on a different river. But...
and a completely different river, yeah. And I turn around and I'm like, shit, I'm in a lift with Paul McGann. Do I say something or do I not say something? And I just turned to him because I'm thinking, I'm not going to get to be in the queue with you later on. I'm going to leave, so I'll talk to you now. And I just said, can I just say thanks for doing this? Because I know you didn't have to, but it means the world to us that you've actually chosen to do conventions. So thank you. And that was it. And I said, and we're not all scary. Right? I was trying to be kind of, look, I'm an ordinary human being. All right, I know I'm not. I know I'm a fan, but I'm as close as you're going to get that day to... It's like, look, we're fine. We're perfect. We're not scary people as fans.
Mm-hmm.
And then the lift doors open and a Cyberman and an Ogron step into the lift with us. And I'm thinking, you've just scuppered my argument there, haven't you, mate? Yes, some of us are ordinary and just enthusiastic and grateful, while others... I present my learned colleague with some evidence there, and that was it. And but then again, there's the other way around. It's a story I know I've told before, with the guy who played Avon.
Yes.
And I do not come out of this story well, and I shouldn't be telling it, but it actually stuck with me, and I think it's made me a slightly better person. So that's worth it. And there was some people with additional needs in the audience asking questions, and they were asking questions as if the people on stage were like actually the characters, like this film.
Yeah.
Like they were doing the sort of Thermian thing, and they were like, what was the favourite planet you visited while you were in Blake 7? That kind of question, the sort of question that makes you go, oh, they're actors. I don't know how to behave at this point. Yeah. And I know that a lot of people are like, you have to step back and go, no, you just go with it. And these people, these actors have been asked 1,000 questions like this before, and I hadn't realised this. And I was sort of stood there in the dealer room waiting to meet Sarah Jane Smith, and I was in that queue. And I said to the person I was with, I was like, oh, I felt really quite uncomfortable when they were doing that. And Paul Darrow's at his table just stood there, and he said something along the lines of, you should really walk in somebody else's shoes and see things from their point of view. And I was like, mate, you're right. And you Paul Darrow. I'll just be paying attention. You'd say, yeah, okay, I'll just have this really important, enlightening moment. And it's Avon who told me this. And then I was like, yeah, fine. So yeah, I've had those moments, but I've never had moments where yes, I've remembered one. And it wasn't me, it was the girl I was seeing at the time, but we were in the queue together and we were meeting David Boreanaz, who plays Angel in Buffy and in Angel, the TV series.
Mm-hmm.
And, right, okay, so I've got, and she's got, a big uncut sheet of the cast of, the trading cards you can get? Trading cards in general, you're aware of trading cards, right? Yeah. Well, you could get an uncut sheet of 9 with the cast, and it was foil print. So it was a limited edition uncut sheet, quite expensive to begin with. and
sorry,
I was getting it signed.
The reason I'm getting distracted is because I've got the film in the background and the scene where they beam up the monster and it explodes.
Oh yeah.
And I remember my wife and I were watching this, and she looked away because it is quite gross.
Yeah.
For a PG, that bit.
It is.
Anyway, sorry, you were
saying.
Sorry,
right.
In
so
the queue.
We're in the queue. Anyway, so David Boreanaz gets hers, and he signs his name right over Sarah Michelle Gellar's face. Right. And he has basically the laugh you've just done when he turns to the person he's with and just shows them and starts pissing himself laughing. And it's like, yeah, that's hilarious, but you've just basically defaced something. Could you not have signed somewhere, say, near your own face? And that was the closest we came to it. It was like, mate, think about it. Yeah, we've just spent quite a lot of money getting here. We've spent quite a lot of money on this autograph that's already covered in other autographs, and it's what are you doing?
Yeah.
So, and it was like, that was a bit of a dick move, I'm sorry. But yeah, that's the closest of being disappointed in meeting someone. Also at that convention, the people came out beforehand and said, David, we'll be speaking in a moment. You can ask any questions you want. Do not ask questions about the state of his marriage or his wife. Thank you. And then they walked off. And it was like, sorry, what? We were going to ask questions about his leather coat, but now all we want to ask about is his marriage.
About that. Yeah.
It was a terrible convention. It was bits of it were lovely, but a lot of it was terrible.
I met David Collins.
Yes, you did.
Have I told this before?
No, you met him. Hang on, you've told me, but you haven't told any listeners. And all you've done is said that you met him at the UFO gig, and I just know you did meet him. That was it, because he was.
Okay.
Was he there with his wife?
I can't remember whether I've told this on the podcast before. Anyway, so I met David Collins in the green room at UFO, Shadowcon 2, and I think he'd just been on stage, and I interviewed one of the directors, whose name I can't remember, and Richard Martin, who was there because his wife was in UFO, so he was just in the green room.
Yes.
Anyway, David Collins comes and sits next to me, and he's clearly there for the money, right?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't seem to be that interested in the fact there's that conversation. And I just kind of said to him, would you be interested in doing a podcast interview? And he said no, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But I remember, because I've been in the green room, I didn't see his interview on stage. But I think I must have watched some of it later, or no, maybe he was maybe it wasn't the green room. Anyway, he was basically talking about, and he just threw out these things offhandedly, like, oh yeah, that was the time when I was having an affair with that actress.
You've not told me that before.
And nothing, and you're just like, right. And it was the kind of thing where, like, you're like, okay, this guy just needs somebody to draw stories out of him, because he'll throw out a line like that and then not elaborate.
Sorry, any interviewer worth their salt at all would have gone, I'm going to follow that road just for a minute and actually stop them, make a point, step out, be the fourth wall breaker and just go, I'm sorry, I know we're here to talk about Sapphire and Steel. However, could you just talk a bit more about that? Because, let's face it, not a lot of us would know that story.
I did once meet a slightly grumpy Colin Baker. And I know it's not what he's normally like, because the first time I met him was at Lakeland, and we got him to do the Blackpool line,
Yeah.
And that was amazing. And then I met him again at Hooverville, and he came onto the stage, and I can't remember who else was on, and he just wasn't in the best of moods, he warmed up, but it was like, because I had this anecdote about meeting somebody at my sister's wedding who had been a sound operator during that era. Okay. And he told me that Colin Baker had this bit where he came over and had to operate a computer console, and there was no sound.
Yeah.
But he said to the sound guy, I'll make some noise with the keyboard just to give you something to record. And I thought, that's just a really nice moment.
Yeah.
And so I sort of recounted this to Colin, and he was like, well, he had no memory of it at all and didn't really make anything of it. And I was like, you're clearly not in the right mood. But I think often you can kind of tell that it's just,
Well, the thing is,
they're having a bad day.
We do forget they're human. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And we always expect such things of them, and that's it's ridiculous how we, as fans, can behave towards these people who are people, and we always forget that they're not just this character that we've seen on screen thousands and thousands of times doing the same thing over and over again.
Well, and they're working, right?
Yeah.
They're there.
Well, yeah. I met the guy who played Fred Elliott. Okay, while I was working in Manchester, I was working in a bookshop, and I served him, and I said, and I did know his name. I actually knew his name at the time, and I said,
John Savadent.
Yeah, that was it, right? Okay, this is important because I said, can I just say, thanks for all your hard work. We've always really liked your work, and in fact, 2 weeks ago we had a John Savadent evening, and he went, what? And I said, we had some episodes of Coronation Street, and we had Blake Seven, and we had we even watched a little bit of Doctor Who, right? Because we actually done this. I was living in Altrincham, and we did that. And,
he's blinking, you'll miss it at the start of the visitation.
Well, exactly, because we were having it. We were drinking. We'd started watching Coronation Street, right? And then we went, I'll tell you what we need to watch next. It became a John Savadent evening. It wasn't planned, okay? we watched a really good episode of Corrie. Then we watched, was it Blake Seven? And then we went, oh, we've got to watch this. What else have we got? Rummaging through the discs, VHS, shoved in the episode of Visitation, and then watched that. And he went, and he looked completely crestfallen. And he was like, why do people never remember the good stuff I was in? And I'm thinking, well, you have got a point, but you were bloody brilliant in Blake Seven.
He's great in Yes Minister as well.
He is, but his best role by far is when he turns up in Waterloo covered in mud, and he just steals the show. He's only in for a few minutes, but you're like, Jesus, you're good at that point. And all he sees is boots and things like that, right? And he was a fantastic actor, so I was trying to be nice. But I didn't really want to go, by the way, we got drunk watching episodes of you. So I was just an idiot at this point, and I should never have been allowed. That's why I was not allowed to talk to Colin Baker when he was at the theatre. He came to be in HMS Pinafore at the Theatre Royal while I worked there, and the marketing department said, right, he's here this week, you are not allowed to talk to him at all. Right? Don't go to the stage door, don't do anything, just don't go. And I was like, they said this is very important. No. Which is fine until halfway through the week when Colin Baker gets lost and can't find Radio Newcastle for an interview. And they say, you know where Radio Newcastle is, don't you? Yeah. Go downstairs, get into Colin Baker's car and give him the directions and drive him there. So I had to sit in Colin Baker's car and pretend that I was not a fan while sitting next to Colin Baker. It lasted 2 streets until we were on the motorway, and I said, look, can I just apologise? I've been told not to talk to you. And he looked at me like, shit, I'm trapped in a car with an idiot. Right? And I went, look, I'm a huge
That was
fan.
your opening gambit, was I've been told
Yes,
not to talk.
because I have no social skills. Right? I have none. So it seemed like a good introduction. It got a laugh. And once you've got a laugh, you're all right. So anyway, I tell him the story, and it's fine. Okay, so I tell him that story, and I tell him that I'm a huge Doctor Who fan, and I went, oh, did you get this part because of Big Finish, because of the work you did on the Pirates? And he went, no, which came first? And it was like, we talked about that he'd not really done some singing, but I had seen him in the performance already, and we talked about that, and we got him to Radio Newcastle, and he did the interview, and that was fine. At which point he told the story about how he'd been hired to be in a commercial, turned up, got given this costume where he was dressed as Admiral for Admiral Insurance, and walked on the stage, and they went, who's this? And he went, it's Colin Baker, this is the person you asked to hire. And he went, no, that's not who I meant. And they paid him, and he went home. And they meant somebody else. The director had got the name wrong. So he told that story on Radio Newcastle about that. So I don't blame Colin for ever being a bit grumpy, but that's the actual life. He said it was great because I got paid for not being in something.
Not doing it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, Colin is brilliant in my
Yes.
eyes. I mean, I've got
Yeah.
his autograph up there on his action figure where it says the Colin Baker, and he will always be the Colin Baker. So that's fine. So
Yeah. Yes.
our experiences of fandom where we forget that they're human is our fault. It's not theirs.
Yeah, no, and I think because my first experience of Colin Baker was so positive,
Yeah.
I made allowances for my second experience of Colin Baker, where you're just it's a long day, you were slightly late to the panel, and I've had weird moments like at Galley. I met Mark Strickson in the loo.
I know you've said Gallifrey there, but my sound kicked out and it actually said in Galilee, and I'm thinking, okay, now that's a trip.
I did once accidentally say Jesus was a Gallifreyan in the context of a Bible study, I think.
We should not be allowed out.
I shouldn't. But no, so there was the first time I went to Galley, and I was in the loo, and Mark Strickson was a couple of urinals to my left, and I was like, well, I'm not going to say anything, but he did. I can't remember what he said. I can't remember what he said now, but he just happened to kind of say
look at
hello
this glowing thing in my palm.
And I was like, I didn't really know what to say.
No.
Neve McIntosh.
Yeah.
She was a bit drunk.
That's fine.
In the lobby at Galley. I remember kind of meeting her.
See, I'd want to talk to her. I mean, I absolutely love the Peyton Oster stuff on Big Finish, but I'd want to talk to her about Gormenghast, because she was really young in that.
I'm vaguely aware of Gormenghast, but yeah.
I would make you watch it, but it's 6 hours long. And yeah, in Christopher Lee walking around being Rotcod, not Doctor backwards. Yeah. Yeah, so
we've gone off on a massive tangent there.
We have. All right, okay. The only thing in my notes that I haven't discussed so far is the fact that this film exists in 3 formats. Right?
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Starts off 3x4, and then it goes into ordinary widescreen. Okay?
Right.
Now, apparently, according to urban myth, the script. Then, when he gets beamed off the ship, and he realizes that it's all real. Because, there's the big scene where the back of the ship opens up and you can see the orbiting the star. That, because the whole film has become anamorphic after that. Because it's proper CinemaScope. So it goes 16:9 until he sees the world in a bigger world.
I'm just going to have to...
And then that's it.
I'm going to have to scoot that back now.
Right. And the thing about that is, apparently people didn't realise, because they went, oh yeah, it's not going to be 3x4. I'll just set the cinema screen to that big. So a lot of people experienced the edge of the film missing or was covered in curtains at the cinema because they didn't realise. So it's dead clever, but it's not. So it's one of the few films in 3 formats. A bit like Ifs in colour and black and white, only because they ran out of money.
Yeah.
But, so that's what we're going with. There we go. That was the one thing that I needed to drag us all back and say, hey, that's an interesting fact. Let's share it. So I have.
Well, let's do Spot the Doctor Who actor.
Really?
Is there anybody?
I've not even bothered looking. Hang on.
I don't think there is.
No, Rickman's never done it. I don't think anybody else has done it. Sigourney Weaver might do it eventually, but I don't think so. No, I can't. I can't.
I don't think so. Do write in if there's a small bit part from somebody, but I don't think there's anybody who's been in Doctor Who.
No.
Because it's an American movie, which means there isn't a massive amount of overlap.
True.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if Sam. No,
I
can't think of anything.
No, I can't. Yeah.
You can do degrees of separation to nearly all of them. And
yes, I mean you can probably do 1 degree of separation to quite a few of them from somebody. Yeah. But yes, it's not the kind of film where you're likely to have a Doctor Who actor in it. So
no. Anyway, right. So that was that. That was Galaxy Quest and a few of our fandom stories.
Yeah.
What would you like to bring next time?
Well, I had a pretty solid idea of what we were going to do next, but I've changed my mind. We're actually going to do something that I'm currently in the middle of watching myself.
Okay.
I'm going to get it off the pile so I can show you.
Oh, it's on the pile. It's not Andor then.
No. Well, and it links because you brought up John Savidant, right?
Oh my God, what is it?
No, it's not John. It stars as one of its stars, Anthony Carf, who
Beaugest?
Beaugest, yes. Anthony Carf, who was in that scene with John Savidant in Doctor Who. I've just spoilt Doctor Who watch for you. So this is. Do you know anything about?
I guarantee you, I wouldn't have got that.
Do you know anything about? Do you know anything about Beaugest?
Right. Okay. My entire knowledge of it consists possibly of Laurel and Hardy.
Right.
And I think a few other things, like appearing in other things.
Right.
I don't think that looks like a BBC version you've got there.
Yes. So this is one of the last things that Douglas Camfield made.
Right.
So he died at the beginning of 1984, and this was broadcast at the end of 1982. So it was, and it was a bit of a passion project of his because he also. We'll talk about this next time. He was commissioned to write a Doctor Who story set in that world, which never happened because he didn't manage to write it, and it would have seen Sarah Jane Smith killed off. Apparently. But it's. We can discuss offline how much.
Sorry, I'm a bad fan. I shouldn't know any of this, but yeah.
Yes, it's eight episodes, and they're Doctor Who length episodes. So it's basically the length of The Invasion, which he also directed. So I don't know whether you have the stomach for watching that much, or whether I should just pick a few episodes.
No, I have. What I'll do is, if they're half an hour long each, I'll just spend my lunch half hour doing that.
Yeah,
I'll watch it on my tablet.
But yes, so it's a
because I don't think it's going to be something Andy's going to want to be sharing.
No. I can't imagine. But yes, so it's a novel based on a novel from early 20th century.
I honestly thought you were going to say based on a novel by a man named Lear.
No,
and I thought no.
Based on a novel by a man named Wren. It's been adapted into lots of movies. I've never read it. I've never seen any of the films. But my brother had this on VHS when he was a kid, and we watched it.
Let's go with it.
Hannah and I were watching New Tricks the other day, and I was like, "Oh, Anthony Carf, who has a recurring role in New Tricks, he was in Beaugest. Shall I see how much this is on eBay?" And I bought it for like £6.
That's right. The film that I'm going to buy, that I'm going to suggest for the future, which is, to be fair, stupid if you've not seen the thing that it actually references, was like £3 on eBay the other day. So yeah, I get it. It's a lot easier for us just to go, I wonder if this is stupid. It's like that we've got all these massive streaming services that exist in the world, and in order to share stuff, we're going old school and buying second-hand discs because we have to.
That's because the best stuff is not on streaming.
I know, but hasn't anyone realised this? The only channel that's making money or is being a massive success is Talk TV, right? Which is run by a man in a massive shed. It's a converted barn. But
Talking Pictures.
Talking Pictures, yeah. And that's the channel that constantly shows stuff that makes me go, actually, I'll just tape that. I've still got the Abominable Snowman taped off it from months ago that I keep dipping into. And I keep going, I must watch the rest of this. It's so damn good. Well, it's Peter Cushing for a start. What more do you need? But anyway, that's beside the point. I'll watch it. You send it. It will be good.
And we will
appear at eventually some point. Do it, which is why I am saying yes to the 8 episodes.
Yeah.
Because as long as I don't have to watch it within a month, we're fine. Okay.
Yeah. Right. We'll take our time, and we'll be back in your ears.
Yes, eventually.
At some point.
We promise eventually.
Yes. Okay. But until then, it's down to me to say goodbye and hand over to Michael.
When I will be seeing you. That was the Tin Dog Podcast. All topics discussed are the intellectual property of the copyright owners. No infringement is intended. Why not follow the show on Blue Sky at tindogpodcast.bsky.social. If you've enjoyed this podcast on YouTube, please click like and subscribe. To contact the show, email tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.